In 2025, I played and beat exactly 60 video games. The release dates of them range from 1985 to 2025. 9 of these games I did not like, 29 of them I found fun but they were nothing that special, 17 I loved, and then we have the 5 best ones which I'll talk about more in depth. These are the ones I believe every single person watching should give a try. All of these 60 games are ranked from worst to best, the video is separated into chapters so you can skip the bad section and move on to the best games if you wish. And of course I've recorded my full playthroughs which you can find on my second and third channels. Alright, let's begin with the worst and work our way to the best game I beat in 2025. Let's go! What a way to destroy what could have been an incredible franchise. The first game, which is much higher on this list by the way, was a lovely story of two lost kids in a dark world filled with danger. They learn how to survive, they care about each other and try making the world a better place. The second game throws all that away in favor of making a more grandiose experience. We have an open world this time, where you walk for several minutes where nothing happens. Missions need to be completed in a specific way and you have no freedom in how you approach them. The story ruins these characters and makes them generic and flat out villains. This game hurt the most because I really care about the first one. I was there. In 2011, when every YouTuber was playing Slender, I was playing it too. I walked around, got scared, closed the game. I made a video back then even. The game was truly frightening and seemed very well made. Most of this is still true today. However, in 2025 I made the mistake of trying to actually beat the game. If you don't know, to beat it you gotta break it. Slenderman is not made to be overcome unless you break his AI. His movement, how he spawns and the spawns of the pages is completely random, and since you gotta collect all 8 pages, each one collected increasing the randomness of Slendy, this is a slog. I had to learn how to speedrun this game in order to beat it. As a spook, this game is cool, but never try to beat it, you'll regret it. I know I'll get a lot of flack for this, but this is my list and I'll be truthful here. This game is the most overhyped piece of garbage ever made. Lots of games I don't like, but no other one comes close to the fanfare this game has. Overwhelmingly positive reviews, positive 90 scores and so on. And for what? Driving is terrible. The police system is dumb. I did not care about the world, where there is a dildo shop on every corner. Everywhere you look you see naked people. The non-naked ones act all macho-like and are treated like a badass. I actually know what it is. This game is made for teenagers. If I was one, I would love it too, but every second I spend playing this crap I question my existence. Add to this how I hate futuristic games in general, and this is just terrible. Mr. Silverhand was the only positive I can mention, but the rest, I really don't get the appeal. I was bored throughout. Gerda is a lovely little game published by my favorite gaming company, Don't Not. You play in 1945 where Germans were not particularly good people, the story is very well laid out and it's not really obvious how it would play out. My reason for not liking it really should not be taken into consideration since I don't think it's a good reason. I don't like it because there's too much text. That's it. I beat it in 8 hours, maybe 6 of which I spent reading. I hate reading and it's a terrible reason to dislike it, but it is what it is. I actually recommend it to most of you if you like hard-hitting stories, but this is just not for me. In 2010, a dude decided to combine all the classic Nintendo games into one. You are placed in a Super Mario Bros. World, and you can play with whoever you want. Since I love Contra, I played with Bill. And yes, every single level is here and you can beat the whole game. While I think this is a great idea, the gameplay was not really that fun. The character is just not meant to be here. Also, since Nintendo are such dicks, newer versions of this mod are nowhere to be found, and I played the very first unoptimized version where playing for more than a half an hour, you start encountering glitches. Maybe if I played the newer versions I would have had a better experience. Honestly, I do recommend it to you, just so you can see what it's like to play with somebody else in the first Mario world, but I personally didn't like it. Bomberman I played all the time as a child. I had a bootleg NES and spent maybe an hour a day playing it. I even beat it several times as a kid, which, if you know how difficult NES games can be, you would be surprised. Well, I played it in 2025 again and it actually wasn't that fun. The first 5 to 10 levels were exciting, but later on you get all these OP power-ups that the difficulty and challenge just disappears. I regret playing it now since it tarnished all my amazing memories from the 90s, but what can you do? The first game is in my top 100 best games of all time video. I loved the combat, the story, the world, the characters and so on. Why didn't I like this one? Well, this is the same exact game, but every single aspect of it is much worse. Combat has unnecessary fluff added to it, which is confusing and cumbersome to use. The world is needlessly enormous. Half of the world should have been removed. The characters are fake. Their reactions, the way they speak, the way they act, makes no sense. GTA 3 characters look less fake. The puzzles are ruined because 10 seconds after you start one, the answer is already given to you by Aloy because she can't shut her mouth for 2 minutes in this stupid game. Lastly, the first game's story could never be beaten because it was just peak. But this game's story was not even serviceable. I didn't even care about the villain. Such a frustrating game. Holy crap. You know me, I don't like superhero games. Spider-Man in particular is not really interesting. I feel the same for every Spider-Man game actually. I tried this one because it was just a smaller game. I thought that I could like it maybe and have a good time, but sadly I didn't. I didn't engage with Miles' story that much. Peter's disappearance did not make sense in the slightest. He would never abandon everyone and put them in the hands of a newbie, but whatever. That's one more Spider-Man game in the trash pile, only one more to go. You may see it in next year's video on the bottom as well. Be prepared. I've never really been a huge fan of the franchise up to this point, but I always enjoyed reading about the lore, I loved the world and loved looking at the wicked creatures in the previous games. Well, the third game got picked up by a new developer and they just don't understand what makes a Little Nightmare game good. Gone are the puzzles. Seriously, if you call pushing a chair a few feet a puzzle, then fine, I am wrong. But this is not a puzzle. But everything else is well. Monsters are not frightening. The big baby just is ridiculously campy. Stay here, wait for it to go away. Same for the spider lady. Just stand here for 2 minutes, wait for her to finish her animations and then move. I won't spoil the rest. You go from area to area. The world they built is not connected. You cannot build any lore. You can't dig up secrets. Your co-op partner will just die randomly and not even follow you half the time. And yes, co-op is mandatory in this single player franchise. Not to mention even how the game is unfinished and you'll be able to buy the true ending via 2 DLCs later on. Like I said with Requiem, what a way to kill a franchise. Shame. And these were all the games I hated in 2025. Now it's time for a list of games I actually enjoyed. Starting with the second hardest game on this list, and I'm sure you have never seen it before. It's a game I've been trying to beat for about 20 years, but I never managed to. This playthrough actually started in 2024. The goal is to fill up this pyramid by completing every level. You gotta collect all yellow scarabs and finally touch the end of your tail. Simple, eh? Well, what if I told you that the controls are completely borked? You move in a direction when you let go of the button, not when you press it. But wait! Sometimes you move when you press it. Also, there's a pixel perfect accuracy you gotta execute, sometimes for several minutes non-stop while enemies are chasing you and random purple coins pop up and rotate your screen. The idea and level design is awesome, the puzzles are creative, but the execution is very poor. If the dev added proper working controls, I would love this game. I simply like it now. I played this game when it came out and I tried to beat it. I kept dying, I kept getting lost and I got very angry with the game, so I abandoned it. A decade later I tried again. The same thing happened. I promise never to touch it again, but here I am in 2025, I installed it and beat it fully in less than an hour without a guide. No idea if this was a fluke, but I finally did it. I actually like the story, it ends in a very gruesome way, which will stay with me forever. The randomness of Slenderman is fair this time, unlike the first game. It's also not as spooky as the first one, but I enjoyed my playthrough. A very forgettable experience, honestly. This is a story game in which I don't care about the characters. The way the story was developing was kinda interesting, but since I did not care about who would die and what would happen to the protagonist, I didn't really jive with it. I also really hate QTEs in this game since they come out of nowhere and you cannot even see them half the time. They blend so well with the background. Gameplay is garbage and I don't really recommend it. Sven is a franchise where your goal is to clear a level of all the white sheep. How do you do it? Via intercourse, of course. Up until this game, all other ones were isometric and the gameplay was quite different. You'll see them later on this list. This time it's a platformer and a very easy one at that. There's barely any danger since the dog and the bee can be easily avoided. You don't need to do everything in the level to progress and so on. I like how they experimented with a different genre, but I'll stick to the originals. A bootleg sequel to the original Neighbors from Hell franchise. In this one the characters look hideous, sure, but what I like about it is how calm it is. The music and scenery really help you relax as you are doing crimes against an innocent old man, his boss, his secretary and his coworker. You'll pull off pranks on your neighbor and the other people around him will suffer. I wouldn't really recommend the game, but I do recommend opening up the OST on YouTube and having a listen. It's quite good. Aha, this is what I'm talking about. The very first and also the hardest Sven game. If you can believe it, this is a game from my childhood. Yes, I used to hump sheep when I was a child and I was quite good at it. Back then I played the shareware version which only had 5 levels, but in 2025 I got my hands on the XXL version containing 20 and the difficulty is quite high. Each level gets more and more sheep while the time stays the same and the dog's aggression feels increased. There's no change in scenery, but the game never got boring. You are always on the move, always running away, and it keeps it exciting. While this is a very good off-road game, I cannot really get over how bad controlling the vehicle is. It's not even that actually, it's the cars themselves. The cars feel like they're floating at all times. There's no mass, there's no weight at all. You often fly around after a small bump. You lift up your butt after a tiny crash. The only saving grace is the tracks. They are very well made, but not varied enough. It's only 4 to 5 hours long, but you repeat the same races with slightly different cars handling the same multiple times. Out of close to 1000 games I have played in my life, this is my favorite one of them all. Why is it so low on this list? Well, because for the first time ever I played the PlayStation 2 version using a controller, and I gotta tell you, this was not an enjoyable playthrough. Everything you do in this game is more cumbersome. Every moment, every camera flick, every weapon switch, the way cars handle with a stick, it's all so bad. This playthrough kinda ruined the game for me and I hope I never have to revisit it again with a controller. Going in, I had no idea this game was 30 hours long. I had a demo disc 20 years ago and I played on the same track over and over again. Believe it or not, NASCAR is not all about just going left. You can earn money, you can pick different sponsorships, not all of which can help you out, you can sell merchandise, you can upgrade certain parts of your car depending on your playstyle, you can modify its look as well. Lots of management is available to you and you can even avoid it if it's not for you. I enjoyed it a lot though and it never bored me despite, like most of you would say, you are just only turning left. Races are very exciting, especially on these small tracks with 30 plus vehicles. One tiny crash can ruin your entire championship. I'm sure there's other bigger NASCAR games right now, but I grew up with this one and I'm very happy I finally beat it in 2025. This game is way too long for its own good. It's very repetitive and the story, if you can call it a story, is very poorly made. I mean, look at the characters, man, it looks like a garbage mobile game. It's still a Farm Frenzy game though, so enjoy it just like I did the other ones in the franchise. Lots of management of resources you gotta do, you gotta think on the spot, you gotta protect your animals, monitor machines, collect and send produce and so on. I started this playthrough about 10 years ago, by the way, got halfway through the game, placed my save file in a folder and finally took it out in 2025. I can finally put this game behind me, but I feel like I'll play it again in the future. The sequel to the first game, and we finally got a change of scenery and also new enemies. It's a nice change to the first game where you only got a field, sheep, a farmer and a dog. Here you can hump a chicken and a pig, and also aliens can spice things up as new enemies who behave differently. Great improvement apart from the difficulty, any game after the first one is now a breeze, and you can beat it much faster. No improvement whatsoever or a change was made in this one, everything is the same apart from having more levels. This could have easily been an expansion. A big improvement over the previous Neighbors from Hell bootleg, this one has normal looking characters, lots of changing scenery and levels, and it's actually challenging. It's definitely not as good as the originals, but it's still short and a fun game. A GTA game most of you dislike, unfortunately. I beat it every year at least once, and this time I did it while streaming. It's very rough around the edges, sure, but there's a nice story accompanying the weird gameplay, and you can have a lot of fun if you like difficult games. Missions are even more varied than GTA 4 actually. I recommend it to people who don't mind top-down laggy gameplay. This is the first game I played with a PS5 controller. If you don't know, the controller has haptic feedback and adaptive triggers technologies, which completely changes how you play games. The triggers react to how you play and what you press. Driving a car in this game, for instance, the triggers become harder to push the more damaged your car is. Each gear shift gives you a different vibration. It's just so different from the traditional way of play that it blew me away. Unfortunately, it's the only racing game I've tried so far that does it so well, and the game itself is not even that great. I love rallies, but this one is more of a team management game. I just wanna race, but I get put away all the time assigning jobs to faceless goons I don't care about. Same old LCS. The game has a bad story, terrible antagonist you see maybe twice in the whole game, and of course you're forced to use a controller since it's a console game. At least in the gameplay department it's very fun, missions are varied, Liberty City is fun to drive in, and it expands on the features of GTA 3. I've heard a lot of praise for this game and I don't really see it. Sure, the story is interesting to a degree, I liked how it progressed and also like how your actions actually have consequences. When you take a wrong decision, the people would flat out die. Unfortunately, I found most of the characters annoying and I kinda wanted them to die. The monster encounters later on were also not very fun, especially since you had to do QTE shenanigans in a short time frame. And I hate QTEs. The company's Supermassive games are praised all the time, but I dislike all their games. This is their best one and it's not even that great. A 100% completely useless remaster. There is no difference at all, at least from what I see. I beat the original many years ago, decided to see what the big fuss is about, and nothing. At least the game is fun. This NFS has the best drifting mechanics probably out of any racing game ever made. It's so smooth, it's so quick to get into drift mode, and the tracks are basically made for you to experiment with this mechanic. Unfortunately, the lack of story makes the game a bit boring at the end since tracks are not varied enough, no story expands on the lore, it's just somebody driving cars being chased by police. Still fun, but not a real remaster. Say what you like about this game, but the Nekopara franchise is actually interesting. It tells a story about a dude who runs a pastry and gets help from his sister and a few cat girls. Each game introduces more and more cat girls who all have different personalities and expand on the story a bit. It's basically like watching a movie since your choices don't matter at all and change nothing. The last couple games actually took the story in a place I am not fond of, and Nekopara after introduced a new cat girl, which is the worst one of them all. She's basically Rey Skywalker, she can do no wrong, she's the best at everything, everybody looks up to her, and she's the nicest person / cat you ever meet. Not a great way to end the story, to be honest, but there was still a lot to enjoy, like the beach chapter. A massive downgrade from the first two games. This is a pure multiplayer focused game now, in which you're pushed to form a crew and play the two main crappy online modes. If you thought that Forza Horizon games and the previous crew games have no sense of progression, you have seen nothing yet. In this game, buying cars does not matter in the slightest, because each main event just hands you a car. Your first event could have the fastest car in the game, the next one could have a dirt bike, and so on. You buy cars only to collect them and possibly drive them between events. Some cars can't even be modified. Imagine my disgust after playing for 40 hours, buying the most expensive car for 2.5 million, and then the game tells me I cannot even change the paint. What a farce! Apart from all this, I still had fun. I like Forza and crew games, but I don't think I'll play the next one since it will be more dumbed down from this one. For a Metroidvania game where the idea is to explore, exploration in this one has got to be the worst part of this game. Very often you'll be spending 30 to 60 minutes just walking around, wondering where you should go next, with no indication whatsoever, and a map which isn't even that helpful. Don't get me wrong, combat is fun, each new location you discover expands on your abilities, boss battles are grand and exciting, the music, oh the music dude, it's so good, it brings me back to the good old 8-bit era of video games. If the exploration was a bit touched up and you were given a simple hint or a direction, I would actually love this game. The first part of this game was incredible, the story was very engaging, levels are fantastically made, every enemy, every item you pick up, every hiding spot is placed in a perfect place to help you enjoy your playthrough. Even the big event, which happens 2 hours into the game, I found necessary, and it also helped me get hooked into the story even more. Well, imagine all that excitement disappeared 10 hours into the game when this abomination stepped into play. Followed were 10 hours of complete boredom and annoyance. You are stuck controlling someone you despise, who has a worse inventory system, you don't care about their backstory, and you actively try to kill yourself because you hate them so much. Abby ruined what could have been a fantastic follow-up to our first Last of Us game, and it was gonna be if I stopped playing after the first half. The second half could have been completely cut and you would have not missed anything. I bought a PlayStation 5 this year and this game came free with it, so I gave it a go. It's the only game which fully utilizes the PS5 controller functionality. Other games try, but they never come close. It's a great showcase of what the controller can do, and nobody can explain it to you unless you hold a controller in your hands. Sadly, it's not worth buying a whole console just for a 4-hour game, so many would not experience it. Also, this game suffers from the Nintendo syndrome, where you gotta make your character as annoying as possible to make them appealing to most people. Nintendo's Mario has the dumb "wah-ha" sound, and PlayStation's Astro Bot has other screams I cannot stand. Solid game if you play it on mute. My favorite cartoon of all time is Samurai Jack. In it we follow the story of a lonely samurai trying to save the world. I watched a lot of it as a teen, and my love for samurais stays to this day. Ghost of Tsushima is a samurai game. We learn about their culture, their values, their hardships, and their way of life. It's wonderfully shown to the player, and the gameplay is not bad at all, with a fantastic combat style. My biggest gripe is the Ubisoftification of every high-budget game. The huge and empty open world where to reach your next objective, you gotta go on a journey looking at the pretty trees and grass. I despise how newer games shove empty open worlds into everything. If you cut half the game, just like The Last of Us Part 2, I would place this game so much higher on the list. Unfortunately, I don't like having my time wasted, so it stays here. This is the most twisted retelling of Alice in Wonderland I've ever come across. If you've never seen it, imagine the most gruesome, weirdest dream you've ever had, and now imagine how this game is twice as weird as that. Not much makes sense, nothing is placed where it should be, there are many dark themes, mentioning them would actually demonetize the video. If you want your childhood memories of Alice to be changed forever, then give this game a try. I have not played a new version of Minecraft in maybe 3 years. Every year I complete an old custom map, however, and this year I replayed the easiest map in the super hostile series called Sunburn Islands. Yes, there are a lot of enemies, lots of danger, but compared to the other CTM maps I've played, it was a cakewalk. The idea is to find certain blocks in dangerous locations and bring them back to a monument. It's a great map if you wanna get into this genre. Need for Speed Cringe released in 2022, so I gave it a go this year. Every time I opened this game and looked at the characters, I threw up in my mouth a little. I had to lock my room and hide my online status on Steam, so people would not know I was playing this abomination. Needless to say, the story is utter garbage. If this is how teens act and speak nowadays, there's no hope for society. Ignoring all that stuff though, this is a solid racing game, back to form from the underground titles. Handling is perfect, cars look incredible with a wide selection of vehicles. I just wish the characters at least looked like people, and that the music was not made by banging two pipes together. God damn, dude. My love for samurais carries over to ninjas as well, they're basically samurais of the night. This is a 2D stealth game with a great story and gameplay. Every level can be approached in a variety of different ways, allowing for a lot of replayability. Your arsenal of gadgets is big and it could fit every playstyle. Unfortunately, controls have a lot of problems and about 90% of my deaths happened because the ninja I was controlling did not do what I told him to do. Otherwise, it's a solid stealth game. I have no idea how to describe this game, and whatever I say could be a giant spoiler. Think of this game how you would think about Outer Wilds or Doki Doki Literature Club. The less you know about it going in, the better for you. All I'll say is that it's not what it seems, it's not like anything else on the market, it makes fun of itself and it's also very self-aware. Don't look up anything before you play and you would be amazed. This was also the last game in the good games category. It's time for the 22 incredible games I enjoyed very much in 2025, starting with one of the best GTA games I have been playing since 2003, but only on PC. This year, just like San Andreas, I gave the PS2 version a go, and surprisingly I was not annoyed this time. It gave me a new perspective on how to play and it feels fresh. Sure, some actions were way more cumbersome to pull off, but I saw it as a positive. I had no expectations for this game because it looked way too silly, dumb and cheap. Well, this is all true actually, but I had a blast. The idea is that you're driving a train on a spooky haunted island and a demon train is after you. To survive and defeat the demon train, you gotta upgrade yours by collecting scraps. You go around talking to people, including my favorite, the Pickle Lady.
My secret jar of pickles.
You get your reward and get chased around. The gameplay is not stretched out in any way, the world is not needlessly big, the missions don't waste your time, and the final look of the train is actually pretty darn cool. Not sure if everybody would like this game, but I certainly did. Now this right here is a fantastic game, unlike the sequel. It made me feel things I've never felt before while playing a game. I've never had a sibling, but I felt compelled to help out Hugo, this tiny demon child who can control rats. Innocence takes place in a gruesome world where the plague is happening. Everybody is locked up, the military doesn't want you snooping around, and they try to get you for your special powers. This helps you bond with your sister, and you feel really connected with these fantastic characters who feel like real people trapped in a real terrible world. Everything from the story and gameplay is just top notch. No, this is not Terraria. Not even close, and I really hate when people say that. Once you try it out, you realize that they are nothing alike. For starters, this game is brutal. You could be playing for 2 hours, but a random stray bullet could set you back from the beginning, and no, you don't keep any weapons, gold or extra health. There is permadeath and the whole game is based around that. You gotta go through many dungeons, survive an onslaught of enemies, and you also gotta get lucky and pick up wands, which can cause a lot of damage. The luck aspect is not to my liking, but if you do get lucky with a couple nice wands, then it gets very fun. Unfortunately, you gotta spend lots of time resetting to get the perfect run. If you haven't noticed by now, this year decided to replay every old school GTA game at 100% on their original consoles. All this in preparation for GTA 6, which releases in 2026. The first and best one I did it on was GTA 3. This game is actually really difficult if you play it on PS2, especially side missions such as the headshot rampages. Doing precise shots is an insane idea, but it is doable as you can see. Just like Vice City, this gave me a new perspective and I saw how people play this game back in the day. It showed me how much of a scrub I am using a mouse for 25 years. Hats off to you console players, you have always been better than I am at video games. Very risky to make such a short game, but this is the reason why I like it so much. There is no fluff, the game knows what it wants to do and it does it in 4 hours. They give you a car and you gotta beat all racers to a particular destination. Technically the story is separated into many races, but realistically it's all one drive to your objective, separated by loading screens. The locations have a lot of variety even, not a single track is the same, which I cannot say for pretty much any other game where tracks are repeated many times. We got sand, asphalt, dirt and snow. You drive in the countryside, up on mountains and even in big cities. One of my favorite races of all time in a video game was this one right here. So exciting, so hardcore, you're always on the edge of your seat and I just could not get enough of it. This was my third playthrough and I'll replay it again many times before I die. I expected to finish this game in maybe 5 to 7 hours using only one potato and be done with it. Well, did you know that there's this many potatoes in it? Did you know that each one changes your playstyle completely? Well, I just had to try them all. This is how 40 hours flew by and I don't regret playing it for so long. I pretty much got addicted to the game and I could not let it go. It's also not just about standing in one spot and letting the game play itself like Vampire Survivors. You actually gotta plan, think and strategize. It's a nice evolution to the genre and I love it. The most brutal and gruesome DLC ever made and also one of the best ones ever made too. Believe me when I say that it genuinely made me sick playing this DLC and I have seen all sorts of gore in my life, both in media and in real life too. This is just on a whole new level. The base game, by the way, is not even that great. The DLC gets your heart pumping, you get grossed out throughout it. I don't recommend it to everyone. My favorite developer slash publisher strikes again with a fantastic story game, their specialty. Not even sure where to begin, but this is not just a simple murder mystery game. I mean, sure, that's the point, there is a murder and you gotta solve a mystery, but it's a lot more. The game plays with your psyche, it makes you question how you live your life, how you treat people and what you take for granted. The ending is much to be desired, but the way to the end was fantastic. I beat all 3 DLCs for the first time ever this year and I gotta say, while I do like the base game, the DLCs are just much better. You play as a new character and you gotta explore different parts of the mall. Mall being the ship lookalike you are currently on. The events happen at the same time and you see them from a different perspective. Lots of very creative puzzles are in these DLCs and the gameplay feels more varied than the base game. They are all very short, so I do recommend them if you like very mysterious and spooky video games. I replayed one of my childhood favorites. I gotta say though, I gotta be honest, if I play this game for the first time today, I would not like it. Cars feel stiff, the police system is dumb and predictable, they repeat the same lines all the time, but back in the day I did not have many video games to play, so I beat this one like 10 times or something. Playing it again just brings back so many old good memories, that's it, I don't recommend it to new players. Apparently the PS2 version is completely different and a much better experience, so I definitely should give it a try. This is another very basic racer, tiny play area, very small selection of cars and really just one mechanic. All that though is really appealing to me. Drifting is superb and you do it like 95% of your playthrough. The car selection doesn't need to be big because we have the signature Japanese drift cars right here. The culture is perfectly represented here. The city looks incredible. Also, don't get me started on the music. Dude, this is the only game I played this year where I ripped the music from YouTube and I listen to it while I drive my real life car. I almost never do this. Every time I enter the garage, get back on the street, start an event, I am blessed with the music perfectly suited for what you're doing. How they managed to make this perfect package, I have no idea. Initially, I did not like this game. I kept dying, I kept cussing, and I kept smacking my keyboard. That's only because I did not understand the mechanics very well. Only once I did, a couple hours in, I completely changed my mind. This game is amazing! From the colors, to the music, to the enemy design, their combat style is just perfect. It's made to be difficult, really difficult. I beat it on the easiest difficulty and I still had a lot of trouble. Bosses were not the only problem, but regular enemies who overwhelm you in a matter of seconds if you don't play optimally. I could not play this more for like an hour straight because I was about to explode. My brain is just gets too overwhelmed. It really gets your blood boiling, and if you like hard games, then give this one a go. One of my childhood games which I never managed to beat because it was way too difficult. As an adult, I really did not have too many problems with it though. You just gotta bash your head against the wall a few times, learn every enemy spawn, the location of every bullet fired and how to most efficiently collect the best weapons, and here you go! You can beat this one in 4 hours. I also did it without any guides, so I'm really impressed. I just cannot believe that I have several years of playtime as a child and I never managed to beat it, but here we go, in an afternoon I did. My introduction to this genre, unlike Brotato, this really can be described as an AFK game. Pick up a few power-ups and just stay stationary, that's most of what you'll be doing. I really don't know why I like it so much, honestly. It's something about the way it's presented, like the massive number of enemies, the way chests open and how massive the play area is. This is actually one of my favorite NES games and another one I never managed to beat as a child, despite playing it twice as long as I did the original Contra. The last level was just way too much for me as a child. This game expands on every single aspect of the previous one. We have better levels, better enemies, more variety in the levels, better boss battles, and even the colors are better. Heck, we even get a new perspective and some levels have a complete gameplay change where instead of moving to the side, you move upwards. It's even way more difficult than the original Contra, even if you have the best weapon. I'm so happy that I finally managed to beat it. This is not a game. This is an experience. I'm a robot when it comes to any sort of media, meaning that I never cry whatever happens. Well, this game made me so emotional that I actually felt moisture in my eyes. It's just that powerful. No other media does it to me, and it happened right at the end, so I won't spoil it. All I'll say is that if you have a pet of your own, you should play this game. If you do, you'll spend the rest of your day hugging your pet and never leave it out of your sight, just like I did with my cat. Truly an experience everybody should go through. It's very short, give it a go, please. Alright guys, that's it for most of the amazing games I played this year. It's time for the 5 best ones. If nothing else impressed you this far, then these games you don't wanna miss. I feel like this game would appeal to Eastern Europeans and to Russians/Ukrainians the most. Basically, if you like the Stalker or the Metro games, then you would most likely like this one. However, there's one caveat. You also gotta like Fallout 4's building minigame, because that's a major mechanic in Chernobylite. The idea is simple. A new day starts. You send your team to scavenge for resources, each one comes back, some get injured, others come victorious, you spread the spoils of war, some people dislike you because you gave them less than others, some give you more info about the surrounding areas and you see what's left and you make your base more livable and functional. Each character has a unique story, all of which are very interesting, exploration is very fun and also challenging, the game looks great and the gameplay loop is polished to perfection. Basically, if you like Fallout 4, Stalker, Metro, and This War of Mine, you really should try it out. Do not play this game if you're not a 90s kid. Seriously, I mean it, you hate it otherwise. I feel like the developers of this game have been recording my whole life secretly and made a game out of it. This right here is me, you know, just in female form. I was always an outcast. I was always the one getting bullied. I was the one spending so much time alone in my thoughts. I was awkward. These were the 90s for me, and this game retells my life perfectly. If you wanna know how bad Infos was as a kid or as a teen, just play this or watch somebody else do it for you. The game just speaks to me on a whole new level no other game has ever done before. Believe me when I say that when you play this game, you play my life, without the supernatural crap, of course. I cannot believe it, but they made Kratos a giant pussy and Atreus has turned into a typical annoying and bratty teenager. Both characters were ruined completely in this title, and I did not enjoy the story very much as a result. Mind you, the God of War 2018 reboot is one of my favorite games of all time, partly because of its amazing story. The way this game excels is in its combat and the world building. Each level adds something new, exploration is exciting, every upgrade is meaningful and it's worth going after, and the world itself does not feel stretched out for no reason, unlike how many new games make me feel. The Valhalla DLC as well expands on the combat and even changes the genre. I even 100%ed the game, something I never did with the previous one. I really hate turn-based games. Final Fantasy X sucks. Transistor sucks. South Park The Fractured Butthole, the combat of it sucks. Well, here comes this game which actually made me appreciate the genre I've always disliked, and all they did was they added a new mechanic, the parry mechanic. That's it. Now it's not just all about waiting for everybody to stop walking around and hitting you, but you gotta actively engage with the combat to survive. Not only this though, but the story is one of the best stories ever told in a video game. I cannot believe how well it was made, how much lore can be extracted from it, and how nobody has ever done something even remotely similar. This game combines everything I love from the Souls-like games and everything I like about story-based games, and it does the unthinkable. A new genre is born, and this is also one of my favorite games of all time. I'll be looking forward to the sequel with great interest. Massive playthrough because I got 100% completion this year. This is my third playthrough since 2016, but I decided to spice it up this time. I gotta be honest though, going for 100% was not all fun. Lots of tasks were very grindy and tedious, and that's why it took me a whole year to get my 100% completion. I found things I never knew existed in this game. There's a whole section of the game I never experienced before, and that's the villager relationships. It was no longer just a farming and mining game, but I added another activity to the mix. This game just has it all, and you could really get addicted if you're not careful. This happened to me actually. I mean, look at my playtime. Truly a masterpiece, and I see many more 100% playthroughs in the future. These are the games which took me the shortest and the longest time to beat in 2025, the shortest being Slender the Arrival at just an hour, and the longest of course being Stardew Valley at over 130. Holy crap. What's also interesting is how all the games with the longest times except the Crew Morfest I beat at 100%, even for that one though I got close to 100. Anyway guys, let me know what you play this year in the comment section, and don't be too angry with some of my placements, okay? Leave a like if you enjoyed, consider becoming a Patreon, like these wonderful people: Sean Paskadan, Jay Olavili, Karina Hish, Tapioca Today, Praise the OK is Nice, Neo GM, Demonish Pretty, Bad Boy Hero, Jebediah, Varsity Gwen, Hi Hats, and everybody else.